Welcome back for part 3 of our series. What does peacemaking and cultivating a nonviolent heart actually look like? I'll share with you 3 important lessons. First, Jesus teaches in his inaugural Sermon on the Mount in Matthew chapter 5 and Luke chapter 6, love your enemies. This teaching is a radical departure from the long-held tradition of adversarial regard for the enemies, both personal and among tribes and nations. The emphasis in this phrase, love your enemies, usually falls on that last word, enemies. Love your enemies. So, the phrase seems to reinforce a dualistic stance. I'm against you, but I'll love you. Or, we're against them, but we'll love them. Well, we can do one or the other. Love or be against. But we can't do both. Not honestly. That's not keeping faith with the nature of love. Whether I love you or despise you as my enemy, I'm still regarding your humanity within my dualistic frame of mind. But something begins to shift when I put the emphasis on love. Love your enemies. Bring your heart into this fraught relationship, whether it's personal or tribal. Now the enemy starts to be not them, but a part of myself, part of a shared humanity. Their wounded self, their broken self, their tragically incomplete self now becomes the focus of my compassion, my concern. But there's no magic here. Everything about them may repulse me. Loving them may suggest that I approve their behavior. The logic of meeting violence with violence may smoke out my commitment to be a presence of peace. So I'm learning that my focus must first be on my way of being present to this other, these others, in a way of love, a disposition of love, rather than on the fact that there are these bothersome others in my life. Sometimes, especially on the global stage, these others are tragically wounded, misguided, tragically incomplete human beings with access to the machinery of war and causing massive death. Prophetic witness to justice and love is a dangerous form of truth-telling about what it means to be a real human being and part of humanity. Second, I am learning that violence is not a disconnected one-off thing. It's systemic with deep, deep roots. Violence is a way, a tragic way, of being in the world. Violence is a devastatingly powerful force, an emotional or physical force of energy intended to injure, damage, or suppress. It's a callous disregard or violation of the rights of personhood. Acts of violence grow out of the wounds of violence, carried in the flesh, soul, and memory of the one doing the wounding. Memories of violence and the transmission of trauma are tragically passed on from one generation to the next. Today, as in past historic times, we stand at a threshold where we as a human species must choose whether to indulge our collective brokenness, frustration, and rage, and transmit violence, or transform it into a disarmed and humbler way of being humankind in society on this earth. There is a payoff, I discover, in choosing to perpetuate violence rather than transform it with compassionate love. The payoff? Our enemies, the ones we wound, become a convenient foil. They relieve us of the difficult work of befriending, understanding, and integrating our own unforgiving shadow self. This is the difficult work embedded in the prayer, "Forgive us our offenses as we forgive those who offend us." These words challenge us to shed our toxic egoism and learn the true beauty and transformative power of humility. When we forgive, we become free to enter into life-giving kinship with the rest of wounded humanity and all of creation. Third, I am daily discovering the magnitude of violence against the non-human elements of creation and privatization of the commons in blind pursuit of short-term financial gain. These expressions of violence are shamelessly deemed good for the economy. The effects of violence against creation are killing creation. So embracing a life of peacemaking is an invitation into the peace of the non-violent Jesus, the peace of the risen Christ. His disciples of nonviolence include Mahatma Great Soul Gandhi, Buddhist monk, peace activist, and teacher Thich Nhat Hanh, and the young Dutch Jewish Holocaust victim Eddie Hillesum, among countless others. The nonviolent heart, I discover, is the only true portal to peace, not just for me, but for everyone, for world leaders included. We urgently need to walk this path of peace together. In part 4, we'll explore the courageous work of inclusion and conversion of heart. The entire series is available now on my channel. And the downloadable Peacemaking Booster Pack, which includes my talking points, room to write, plus bonus material, plus a 1-hour conference with me, is waiting for you in my store. It's insight you can live with. Be well, live in peace, love one another, and see you soon for part 4.